You are listening to the #1 real estate podcast in the world, where we talk with real estate agents and team leads from across the world about their wins, losses, lessons, and stories, so we can help you win in your local market today. My name is Cody from Sheridan Street. I'm joined with my co-founder and co-host of the RE Agent podcast, Vikram Deal.
How are you forgot doing? My name, bro. I you forgot my name. I'm like, are we gonna have to start this over? Cody,
no.
Cody, I lived with you.
I wanted the effect of you thinking that I forgot your name, because I know how offended you would have been.
No, I was laughing. I thought that was great. Well, there goes any opportunity for using any sounds. Like,
yeah, well,
that was good.
That was the sound. That was the sound of the day. The sound of the day was you thinking that I forgot your name.
And you know what's really funny? I'm gonna just bring this home because Mario is part of the Real Estate Growth Academy. This is actually what we talked about this week in the Real Estate Growth Academy. And I know you're not in the calls, but we talked about how you can use tonality to create uncertainty or certainty, how you can use like a low voice to create a secret or make people think that you forgot their name. So Cody gets I had to bring the sound in somehow.
I gotta win.
Yeah.
We have somebody very, very special with us today. Somebody that has shown up consistently in the Real Estate Growth Academy, someone that's showing up for his clients, for himself. When this got posted to the calendar last week, I got really excited about this, because this is somebody that like I have watched just crush it over the last 60 to 90 days working with us, and we've had the opportunity, both of us, in order to work with Mario. Mario, why don't you give us like a high level overview on kind of like how you got to where you are today? Tell us a little background on your real estate journey, your real estate career, where you're at in the world. Just give our audience kind of a high level overview on who you are.
So as far as real estate goes, obviously, I show up consistently because of my workout schedule. I got that from wrestling when I was in high school. My coach would have me at like 4 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, kind of like the Rocky thing, running down the street. I
could see Mario outside pumping Rocky, raining in sweats.
Back then, I didn't know all the music, right? But sure enough, he did have some like classic rock playing. I'd be running around with rocks in my backpack or like a bunch of phone books. So I'm pretty much used to like waking up in the morning early as could possibly be, getting into the office as soon as I can. The sales strategy thing didn't come into play until I was actually in real estate. I guess if I had to tell you what's really helping me like get across and show up consistently is basically doing the basics. It's not getting all fancy, like Vikram with all the videos, but just making calls, showing up in front of people, and being educated. Or educated, I think is the word, right?
Educated.
Yes.
That's slang for super smart. Let's just touch on a couple of things. Because I see you differently than how Cody might see you, because I see you every week and I see you as a team player. And I see you as somebody who doesn't like, you just don't make excuses in life, right? You show up, you do the work, like forget real estate for a second. Like let's just back out why some people are successful, why some people are healthy, why some people are happy, why some people, right? Like you just exude, like when Mario walks into the room, you smile.
Yeah.
Right. Which is why Cody is excited, why I was excited, right? Because Cody, I was talking to Cody yesterday. I was like, Cody, it's Saturday. Saturdays are my bike days. He's like, well, you told me to open up Saturday for recordings. And I'm like, well, we never agreed on it. He's like, that's true. I'm like, who's on the podcast? He's like, check. And I was like, oh, Mario, for sure I'll be there. Right. Like, because when you give so much of yourself to others want to give to you. And as much as we might not want to be here on a Saturday, where are you sitting at right now and doing this podcast?
At the office.
Wait, where?
At the office.
The what?
At the office.
And just so people understand, right? You have a pretty crazy number of sales you do a year as a single solo agent, correct?
Yes.
If you feel like sharing your production numbers, you guys, this isn't an ego thing. This is just if you want to be successful, you have to do certain things, right?
Yeah.
Like it's about success, right? Like we want you to win, not just at business, but at life. So Mario's in the office. He probably went to the gym today, unless it's his one day off a week. Do you go to the gym, Mario?
I'm nursing a jujitsu injury.
Okay. So you're recovering. So why do you do the things that you do every day? Like why? Like who? Like what's the reason why you show up for your? Because look, guys, if you don't take care of your health, and Cody and I, we don't get into this a lot, which is why I'm really excited that I get to get into this with Mario. But if you don't take care of your health, I'm a true believer it's because you have a little bit of self-love problem.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. I
Fucking
guess.
ruthless, right? It's fucking the truth though. How could you not spend time, right? People are like, oh, I gotta work, I gotta work, I gotta work. But then you miss the people that you're working for.
Mhm.
You don't teach them anything. So I believe that if you take care of yourself, it's because you have the utmost self-love for yourself. And
Okay.
so you're nursing an injury. We'll let that one slide that you're not at the gym, but why do you do what you do? Like, why do you care so much? Like, why do you care about other people so much? Like, let's go deep.
I guess it's gonna have to come up from my upbringing. Well, I mean, my father left, by the time I was like 2, 3 years old, right? So I only had a older half brother. My mom has a bunch of sisters, right? So, and they're all single moms. So I got a bunch of cousins around the same age within like a 10-year gap. And we all raced together. My grandfather had a mechanic and diesel engine shop. So the boys, just me, my older brother, and my younger cousin, were doing the work as far as like flipping 18-wheeler tires, carrying heavy ass machinery as far as work ethic. And then my grandfather's Mexican culture. So when you think like machista, I don't know how to I don't want to say
Yeah, Latin
misogynistic,
culture.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's Latin
It's
culture.
just like
So
macho, like very
Mhm.
manly, very masculine.
Machismo.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's
Hear you.
I think that's the way you could describe it. Very masculine.
it's very masculine. It just really embedded that into me growing up. So I always had to take care of either my younger ones, uh, my younger cousins, whatever. After I grew up, high school, college, things like that. My mom lost her job, right? Last year, for I think like February of my senior year. So when I was leaving to take off for college, I had to start helping pay the bills. Yeah, and then she couldn't get a job. She really hasn't had a job ever since then. So for the last 18 years, my mom hasn't really had a job, so I've been having to take care of her.
Yeah.
And that's just something that I, consistently had to like do, making sure I had to take care of somebody aside from just me.
Necessity is
Wow.
what I'm hearing, and that is so powerful. And thank you for sharing that, because I think that there's definitely power in necessity. It's like when you have a team, you have somebody you need to show up for on a daily basis. That is like massive. And that like, sounds like it pushes you to be kind of the best you can be every single day. And I just, yeah, that's phenomenal that you were able to kind of take that story and kind of run with it.
Yeah.
What did you do before real estate? Like, how did you get into real estate? And like, were there things along the way, like other key moments that kind of you think that went into your success? Because the production you do as a single agent is pretty crazy. Like, a vast majority of real estate agents would dream to do the amount of production you have, and most of them will never do it, especially as a single agent. So I'm curious to know, like, were there key things along the way? Like, obviously necessity you mentioned. Were there other key moments along the way that kind of allowed you to get into real estate and then just crush it? Like, what were those things?
I was a Walmart manager prior to real estate and a personal trainer. So as a Walmart manager, I lived like 2 minutes, 3 minutes away from that Walmart. So I was the first one to call since we're salary. Mario will be there. Mario will be there. Doesn't matter what, even on my day off. So I'm already used to 7 days a week. I'm not even looking at the clock. And then as a personal trainer, you make more money selling, because I was with a franchise gym. So we made a commission based off of however many sessions we sold. At first I started, hey, well, I'm gonna help people out. But to be honest, I made more money just selling the sessions, right? But I mean, I still had to do like a quota of how many sessions I actually like trained. And I had this one lady, right, 5:30 in the morning. That was her session that she was paid for. Always late, right? So I'd be
Was she
calling
a
her.
realtor?
Yes, yes. She had just got her license. For about 2 months in. Called her every morning, like it's 5:25, I'm showing up. Yes, I'm showing up. But she had just gotten her license, so she had this beat up little Cavalier that would like fart every couple seconds. So I was always in the parking lot meeting her, because it got to the point like, hey, she's not showing up to about like 5:40, 5:45. Hey, you only paid for 45 minutes. You only paid for an hour. Like as soon as your hour's done, I'm done. Like I'll walk. I got my actual job to go to. And this one day, then obviously, we talk here and there in between sets, whatever. And she told me she was a licensed agent. She just got her house. And then I remember I was calling her like at 5:45 one morning. Where you at? I'm here in the parking lot. Really, because I don't hear your piece of shit car. No, I got an upgrade, whatever. Sure enough, it was a brand new Audi. I asked her how the hell she got it, right? She basically got it because she had just closed on her first home. And I'm up at like 4 a.m. I'm cooking my eggs and steak. I'm not getting home. I'm doing about 2 or 3 clients right before work at 8 o'clock. I'm at Walmart till about 8 o'clock at night. I don't get home until like 9:30. I'm beat, right? And you got an Audi. How do I do that, right? So that's how I got into real estate.
The real estate curse. You get one sale, you go out buy a $50,000 car, and then you never make another one.
Well, with her, she was one of the the luxury builders down here in the valley. Our median average sales price is about like 250 to 300. Yep. So his luxury homes run from anywhere from like 8 to $1 million.
Wow.
She was his mistress.
So what?
She was the builder's mistress. So she just basically
that's one way to make money.
Dude, that is what you call job security, brother.
That is what you call a great business model.
I don't know about a great business model. I think that's called job security though.
So
Mario, did Mario start sleeping around to get listings? Is that your secret, Mario? Are you the male gigolo that sleeps around and gets
There's
listings?
been times where I've been offered, but no, I haven't yet. Notice how I say yet.
There's always an opportunity. So I want to dial back a little bit to what you said about your upbringing, because I think your upbringing, and I appreciate you. I really do appreciate sharing, because it's not, for some people it's easy, but for other people, I think it's challenging. And I don't know where you fall on the spectrum on that one. But when you talk about your childhood and you having to take care of cousins and family and, being a role model, it sounds like your grandpa was somewhat of a role model to you guys. Good or bad, but he was kind of the male figure at a young age that you guys looked to. And, old school immigrants, right? Like my grandpa, he was up at 3 o'clock in the morning, farmer. He worked all day, came home, had 2 scotches, passed out, and started rambling in his sleep. And then we would basically like try to roll him to his bedroom, because all the, the family's in the living room, but he would be out of sleep at like 7 o'clock. He's like a bird, go to sleep when the sun goes down, come to sleep, come up when the sun goes up. And if a levee broke or something broke in the middle of the night, like he took care of it. Now, if he was a good businessman or a bad businessman, I don't know, but he worked hard to take care of his family. And it sounds like that was instilled, being in the Latino culture, that is part of our cultures, right? Indian, immigrants, like we take care of our family as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
How did that impact, how did that growing up impact who you are today as a man?
I guess you could say it really did teach me how to be a family guy, family man. I can't say a single time like I'm the type where something needs to get done, let me know, I'm on it.
Right.
So get kind of like translated into real estate as well, because as real estate agents, something happens, let's just get it done. You got to move the sofa, let's take it out of there, whatever the case might be. But if I really had to like boil it down as far as to what's the best way that it transferred over now, it's responsibility. That's going to be probably the best way that I can explain that, as what I need to do.
Can you go so for people that don't know, you were working Walmart, you were working personal training, you were working 14, 18, 16 hours daily, 7 days a week consistently to take care of the things you need to take care of.
Uh-huh.
When you got into real estate, right? You were just a rock star selling 50 houses a year right out the gate, like no problem. You're laughing. Why are you laughing? It's just, why are you
No, because
laughing? Is that not the truth?
nobody taught me anything about real estate. So I basically just, did it as your first, I don't know, as those out there, your first transaction. Nobody's there. You don't know how to do it. Your sales training, or I'm sorry, your license training tells you nothing about sales. You don't know how to lead
It
generate.
tells you how to set up for your credit card in the MLS so that they start making $300 a quarter off of you.
What not to do to get sued, what to do to get sued, and everything in between about being sued. As far as actual real estate training, my sales manager basically just told me, get drunk, make calls.
Let's rewind that a little bit.
Yeah.
I know a little bit more of the story, Cody, so I'm going to roll with this one.
Okay. Yeah. Roll with this.
Because when
I saw Cody's
we
eyes like, what?
yeah, when we were talking about expireds and canceled and cold calling, Mario shared a lot about what he did. So your manager at the time was like, hey, you don't know a big group of people, whatever. What you should do is you should start calling these expireds and canceled. And then he was like, you suck at it. Why don't you have a couple of drinks, lighten up, loosen up, and then make the calls? Correct? Something like that. It wasn't like just go get drunk and make calls at night.
Like, that is a very, very interesting sales tactic.
It
Just
works
get
actually
hammered and
really
dial.
well.
Hammered and dial.
Smoke a joint, take a shot, get some tequila in you, get some rum in you, and just rock.
But let's talk about that, because I think that I chat with so many real estate agents that they want people to just buy with them. They don't want to do any work. They're like, just choose me. I want contracts, not conversations.
I'm not going to mention any names.
Yeah,
but,
I'm not going to mention any names.
I know about a dozen off the top of my head.
So I'm curious what you did kind of early on once things started to click. You obviously had a sales manager that said you need to dial, and he told you that you sucked and you needed to get better at your script. And it sounds like you did, and it sounds like you did practice. But what else did you do? Because I think a lot of real estate agents, they come into the space, they, like you said, they get no training whatsoever. Sometimes they land in a brokerage that gives them no training because they make the wrong decision, and they get into a brokerage that doesn't even have a training manager because they're so worried about their split, but they've never done a deal and they don't join a team. So it's it can be a really shitty start for a lot of real estate agents. So can you give us the 3 things that you did when you first got into the space that started actually working?
Craigslist. Yes. That's actually where my first deal came from. That's how I met my lender now. I've used him since my first deal. And I think he has me pretty spoiled, because I've brought him a lot of business. So, he invests back into me.
Relationships.
Yeah. The drinking did help. Wow, that sounds bad. So the liquid courage.
I love it though.
The liquid courage, because as you're in sales, or you've been in sales, so the first couple of calls do get kind of nerve-wracking, sweaty palms, spaghetti. So I did a few shots a few times, whatever, just to get me comfortable enough to actually have a conversation. And then I guess the third one is the consistency of actually, posting on Craigslist, actually posting, actually calling the people, actually following up. And then everything else came natural once I actually got belly to belly.
So the consistency of posting on Craigslist, if we bring it to 2023, 2022, the consistency of Craigslist would be like the consistency of posting online on a regular basis and creating video and reels and things like that.
Yes, exactly.
And that shit would actually work for some fucking people. Crazy. There's gonna be a lot of edits in this fucking podcast, I can tell. but there's a lot of consistency is what, when I heard relationships, okay, fine. Liquid courage, that doesn't work for everybody. That you were younger, probably more of like a fraternity style work environment. But consistency is something that everybody can do.
Yes. Consistency is something everybody can do. From the moms that are, part-time, being an agent, from the dads, having to transition out of like a corporate job, whatever the case might be. It's showing up, doing the basics.
I got a question on the consistency real quick, Cody, before you jump in.
Yeah.
When you got into real estate, did you give yourself an out, or were you like, this is what I'm going to do no matter what, no matter how long it takes? Like, I'm not trying this. This is it. Like, this is like, if this woman can drive an Audi, whatever her situation was, whether, you know, you knew about that or not, but if this woman can get an Audi, right? If she can go from driving this beat up Cavalier that farts every 5 feet, that's clanking, and then she can go to a brand new like luxury vehicle. Did you even give yourself the thought? Because a lot of people are like, I'm going to try this for 90 days. I'm going to try this for 6 months. I'm going to try this for 9 months. And they come into it already mentally struggling. And then of course, when you come in with scarcity, you end up with scarcity. So when you came in, was that your thought, or were you like, I'm burning the bridges, F it, I'm in for life?
Yeah, I burnt the bridge. I didn't, if I was making about, I want to say maybe like 1,000 a week and selling all the sessions of personal training. And she said she basically paid it half off. So I was assuming, I assumed the numbers off of that was like 25, 30 grand, right? In 2 months, you made 30 grand? Fuck, right? So I'm done. I'm done waking up at 4 a.m, cooking myself. I'm cooking in, at that time, my son was a brand new, a newborn. So I'm cooking in the dark. The only light I have on is the one above the stove. I'm eating in the dark. I'm making as least amount of noise as possible. So I didn't even care. You know what? I'm in. I got my license in like 2 weeks, or I got the hours done in 2 weeks, right? I went online, knocked out the web classes in 2 weeks. I think, I'll be honest, I had to take the test twice to get licensed. And that was it. Within the 2 months, I was already part of the board.
You said something that I want to back up to because Vikram kind of glanced over it around the relationships. It sounds like that relationship with the lender made a really big impact in your business. So I'm really curious to know, from a strategic standpoint, like what you're doing other than, obviously it sounds like you're doing cold calling. Are you going to networking events? Like, where is your business currently coming from? Like, is it relationships? Like, because a lot of agents, the reason I ask the question is a lot of agents are like, I built my business on sphere of influence and referrals.
And they do
I'm
like
like,
6 transactions.
congratulations. Like,
and they've done 6 transactions their whole
yeah,
life.
congratulations. Like, where is your next deal coming from? So, I'm curious to know, like, it sounds like you're doing a lot of what we call now business, where it's like, hey, I'm doing the outputs that actually drive the input, where a lot of people just kind of like happenstance, like, oh, I'll post on social media, maybe somebody will come to me. Like, what are you doing? Like, what does your day-to-day routine look like that drives the amount of production that you do?
You want me to run through the actual like schedule?
100%. I want to know the schedule, because
if you can break it down.
If this is a single agent listening to this podcast and you're not taking notes, there's nothing else I can do for you. Take notes on exactly what Mario does here. So yeah, if you can walk us through the day-to-day regiment routine of what it looks like, that'd be greatly appreciated.
I'm usually up by 5:15 in the morning. My alarm is set at 5:30, but lately I've just been beating it every day. My 30 minutes, pampering to myself, either lay there on the floor, stretching, yoga poses. From there, I'll have like a light breakfast, something small, about 6, 7 eggs.
Just go 6, 7 eggs, no big deal.
I gotta mute myself here. Okay, so you wake up, you do some yoga poses in your Lululemons, lie down on the ground,
booty shorts,
and then in your little booty shorts, and then you go and have a small breakfast of a dozen eggs, some bacon, and a half of a T-bone steak.
I say that jokingly, but it's kind of like on point. So I'll usually have.
Well, you're going through puberty still, so I mean, I can understand. You're a growing boy.
From there,
So this is about 6 o'clock, 5:45, 6 o'clock.
So this is about like 6, yeah, about 6-ish. See, after that, I'm prepping my day, so I know like, hey, I'm going through my calendar as far as like, hey, I need to meet this person, or I need to make sure that's done. What does my rest of my day look like?
So
I'm at the
I just
gym.
want to, as you walk through it, do you mind if I just kind of cut in so that I can give some context to people? So
Yes.
when you're prepping your day for those, when I work with people, or when a coach tells you, or somebody on YouTube says, work on your business, not in your business, prepping your day, folks, is working on your business. Making the calls is working in your business. I just want to, so people can understand what the difference is. So you spend half an hour a day in the morning, or less,
Maybe
or
like
more.
15 minutes. Maybe like 15 minutes. I'm working on the business as far as like, hey, what needs to get done? What are the priorities?
Okay.
I'm off to the gym at that point. I'll spend maybe like 45 minutes to the hour at the gym. So after that, I head straight to the office. I've already worked out. I already prepped my meal for the night before, as far as like what my post-workout meal is. So I'm meeting that at the office while I'm making calls. And I'm at the office like 7:45.
And how many calls are you making? Because like you're still doing, even though you're doing ads and you're doing a whole lot of stuff, you're still making your own calls. So how many calls are you making a day?
As of right now, like outbound cold calls as far as like for the expireds, typically about like anywhere from like 20 to 35.
Okay.
Um,
So that's about an
But
hour.
yeah, about an hour.
Yeah,
Okay. Give or
roughly.
take.
My follow-up calls are after that. Anything as far as like anything that's came in through like the night before or whatever case might be. As far as like from the Facebook ads or the Google ads, if I got to put a number to it, same thing, about 25, 35 calls.
Yeah.
Okay.
After that, I'm doing follow-up as far as like my escrows, making sure, this got done, that got scheduled, if there's any issues with the title. And then I'll usually have, I don't want to call it a lunch, right? 'Cause it's basically like a quick 5 minutes with myself. Sounds wrong. I saw your face, Vikram. You always gotta think wrong.
Yeah. Don't look at me,
I
bro.
wasn't gonna say anything. I wasn't gonna say anything. So you just go and you go to the bathroom, like type with yourself. Perfect.
Yeah.
So let's get to prospecting. So every day you're on the phone at 8 a.m., give or take, almost daily.
Yeah. A little bit before 8 a.m. I'm mostly off the phone as far as prospecting, about like 10, 15.
So let's call it 2.5
2 hours.
hours a day, 7:45-ish to about 10:15-ish. So about 2.5 hours a day.
Yeah.
And just to break it down, because I know you know this number, how many cold calls and expireds does it take you now to get a deal?
18.
How many did it start when you started, when you're on your liquid courage diet?
40.
So if you make 18 calls, right, which is about 18 conversations, I'm sorry, it's 18 conversations. So you're making about 30 calls a day. It probably takes you about a week to get to 18 conversations. That's almost guaranteed a deal a week.
Yes.
And how many deals in the last 12 months, give or take, have you put into escrow?
You know what? I'll tell you right now.
Well, and while you're pulling that up, what I'm fascinated by is the fact that you know that number, because the vast majority of the time when we're talking to agents, they have no idea like that number. So the encouragement I give anyone listening to you is like, how many leads does it take to have a conversation? How many conversations does it take to have an in-person meeting? All things that we talk about. So that's so important. It's so cool that you know that number. So yeah, how many deals in escrow?
As
of year to date right now, 42.
And we're in October, guys. So I don't know when this is going to air. Probably this probably air like beginning of 2023.
Yeah.
So he does it all, you guys. Like that's what I was like, Mario, we got to get you a TC ASAP. TC ASAP, because that's at least for somebody like Mario. Because you guys, here's the thing: when some of you guys hire people, you're like, oh my God, I have free time to go do a bunch of other dumb shit, and then you can't afford the new hire. The way you hire people is like, oh my God, I got an extra hour a day now to do an extra hour of reach out. I have an extra hour to do coffee dates. I have an extra hour to do prospecting. I can call the old expireds that are 90 days old. I can call the 120-day expireds, right? I can call more of my people that I've missed and I've forgotten about. I can call my clients that I've done business with, right? Like I can do drop bys and knock on their doors of not just the people that I don't know, but the people that have actually said, we love you so much that we wanted to work with you. And instead we're always in hunter mode, right? We're always in hunter mode, but I watched the movie Avatar. I might've been on a little bit of mushrooms last night, and the people like plug into the environment around us, and our network is the people who have wanted to work with us.
Mhm.
And we don't plug into those people enough
Yeah.
because we're so busy. So like what I also like when Mario told me this, he's like, yeah, I got he's like, I'm a solo agent. I'm like, solo agent with the TC. He's like, no, I do it all on my own. I'm like, what? I'm like, you manage 50 escrows a year by yourself, and you show up to the calls, and you have a family, and you like, how? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy.
And that's consistency. That's discipline. That's going to
Yeah.
the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning for years and years and years. That's flipping the heavy tires years and years and years. But like, your morning is dedicated to one thing. I think we can break it down to. Your morning is dedicated to one thing. What's that one thing you're trying to do every morning?
Get my mindset right.
Well, after the mindset, let's talk about the prospecting.
Oh, not got as many prospect calls. Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
you're on when your morning is, what's your goal for the morning every day? It's to what? Like
Set an
book an
appointment.
appointment, set an
Yeah.
appointment.
Set an appointment.
Yeah.
Buyer or seller, doesn't matter. My goal every day is to set an appointment.
Yes.
Why
Yeah.
is that so hard for people to think about? Like, why do people make 8 calls and then they stop? Why do people make 14 calls for the year and they stop? And then they wonder why they don't have business. Like, why?
Yeah, you
Why
see
is
people in
that
your
hard?
and even in your office, like, you'll see, like, even in your local market, that they struggle to get past the hump of like, hey, these are the outputs I need to do in order to actually get the results I'm looking for. So like, what do you think it is? And like, what do you think that mindset shift was for you?
Yeah, good question.
For me, it was born out of necessity. Like we said, diapers aren't cheap. I'm assuming they only went up in price now. I had to take care of mom. I had to take care of, whole family. So I have to do it. Obviously, since I got that first deal out of Craigslist, hey, that's where I got it from. This is what I did to, get that deal. Let me just redo it again until I get another deal, so on and so forth.
Mario, man, like I just want to wrap up here with like,
do we have to?
yeah, do we have to? Well, I think that we're at 45-minute mark, and
I know, it's
I just want to
crazy.
respect Mario's time
I
because he's probably going to go make some calls today. So I want to respect that time. But Mario, just from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for providing so much value to us, like to really kind of dissect your business to see what you're doing, but so much value to everyone that's going to listen to this podcast on repeat, hopefully, to understand that a lot of it's necessity. And I love what you said about necessity and discipline and consistency, because I think that the necessity thing is the hard thing for a lot of people, because they don't necessarily come from a spot where it is necessity, but finding that thing that makes winning a non-negotiable. I think everyone can find that thing, like whether it be like, I want to show up differently, I want to buy my parents a home on the lake. Like, it's like, find that thing that drives you to wake up every morning full of excitement, full of joy, full of purpose, is really the encouragement I would give anyone listening to this podcast. My last question for you, Mario, is if somebody were to want to reach out to you, or somebody in your local area wants to reach out to learn, like, maybe we have somebody in the local area wants to have chat, or maybe another agent wants to send you a referral in the area, where's the best place that they can reach you in order to kind of send you that agent to agent referral? Or maybe somebody in your local market wants to reach out to you to buy or sell real estate. Where should we send them?
I guess phone number would be the best thing. And then obviously on Facebook as well.
Awesome. You want to throw us your phone number so we can throw it in there, if you can just tell everyone?
Yeah. 956-683-6090.
You got it there.
Mario's gonna get wedding proposals from the ladies.
Exactly.
I wanted to
agent to agent wedding referrals.
what real quick, and obviously, like, Mario, dude, I love you, brother. You show up to everybody. You anybody who's new in the program, you're always just like right there. Just you're the big brother, man. Like, you're the big brother that a lot of people rely on, because you post, you're consistent, you show up for yourself, you show up for them. And it's no coincidence why you're one of the most successful people in your brokerage, in your community, and in the country as far as deals go, right? Like, there's not a lot of people that are going to do 40, 50 deals ever in a year, leave alone in their lifetime. But I think, Cody, you touched on something really important, and Mario, you guys touched on this. Not everybody is born with the need for that. Not everybody has to take care of a family. Not everybody has to take care of somebody else. Not everybody has that necessity to go out there. And you got to find that. You got to find that. Like Grant Cardone says, every month I empty my bank accounts, right? My uncle said the same thing, most successful person I know. He's like, every month, Vic, I would just put everything into a new account and I would start at zero. Now I don't have to do that anymore. But when I was young, I always wanted to start at zero because he knocked 100 doors. That was his thing. I'm going to knock 100 doors a day, 100 doors a day, 100 doors a day. I barely spoke English. He got an F, took it to my grandpa's house. He said, "Oh, look, uncle, I got an F." My grandpa fucking smacked him upside the head. He's like, "What does F stand for?" He's like, "Fantastic." He just came from India. My grandpa's like, "You dumb shit. That means you failed, you idiot. Never bring that in my house again." So next time he just made it into an A, and it was
Fantastic.
great. But create that adversity in your lives, you guys.
Yeah.
Create that necessity. Mario, what would you say is like one last tip?
Well, I do got to give you guys a plug. I've already talked to a few agents you guys have like introduced me to, as far as like, to let them know how the business is going and how the systems are going for us. And what I get from all of them, except for maybe probably one of them, Vikram, they just expect, you guys to do all the work and they're just going to like write up the offer. That's not the case. You guys are marketing, you guys are putting us out there, branding. You still have to do the close. And the biggest value we're going to add as a real estate agent to any transaction, whether it's buy or sell, is to help our clients, educate them, and to make the best decision for them, guide them in that process. And that's what a bunch of agents aren't grasping, as far as like why they're not pulling the trigger to get you guys hired or getting the contract with y'all.
Hey, I want to say thank you so much, Mario.
Yeah,
and I want to say
Appreciate you so
thank
much.
you for tuning into another episode of the Our Agent Podcast, the #1 real estate podcast. in
Number
the world.
one.
#1. We'll see you all soon.